everybody in the YouTube world, I've got a very special video for you today, something that we've been waiting to do for a long time. I'm having a sit-down little chit-chat powwow question and answer with the owner of Meyer Hatchery, Karen Meyer. How you doing, Karen?
Doing good, Tom.
I'm so glad you came to sit down with me today. We've got a couple of questions that the viewers have been just dying to get the answers to. Maybe a few of them I'm curious about as an employee, so just want to get a little bit of insight on Meyer Hatchery, if that's okay with you.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so what first brought about the idea of opening up your own hatchery?
Well, I guess I never had the idea that I would do that. It just kind of came about as, it started as a hobby. My husband went to a feed store one day. They were putting on a chick day, which I think everybody knows what chick days are. And the feed store has a promotion where if you buy 25 chicks, they'll give you a bag of feed to kind of help promote business to come into their store. So he happened to be at a local feed store, and they were having this promotion going on. He didn't buy any chicks that day, but he was introduced to another hatchery, a lady from Worcester who had her own hatchery, and she was looking to kind of pass it off to somebody else. So we kind of became acquainted with this woman from Worcester, Mrs. Uhl, and I started working with her, and she said, you know, I'm ready to pass this on. She was like, I don't know, like 95 or something like that at the time. Nice little lady. And so anyhow, I worked with her for a while, and we bought a flock, a couple of flocks from her, and a couple of her incubators, and started out with that. So as far as the flock size, I think we had maybe three different breeds. Maybe a total of 200 or 300 chickens altogether that we started out with. That was like in 1985, I believe.
Wow.
And I think we started that kind of late in the season, I'll say. I think probably middle of June. We acquired those birds and probably collected eggs from them and hatched eggs from them probably till maybe September.
Okay.
Something like that. Then saved some birds back to start a flock for the next year. And we kind of just used the same growers that she had, as far as people that raised her breeders for us and so forth. So
right.
that's kind of how that started.
Wow.
And, yeah, just a little hobby.
It starts off as a hobby and goes from there. Oh my gosh. So everyone tries to envision the future. What did you picture in your head after that first year of business then?
After that first year, I could see that there was some potential there, to make a little extra money, for the family and kind of help things along. At the time, of course, we were dairy farming with my parents, so I was at that farm most of the day with raising the kids and taking care of, some cattle that were there and hatching some chicks on the side. But I could see that there was some potential there to make a little extra money. And I thought, this is kind of nice, I have a little change in my pocket here, so I'll kind of keep this going. And then, I guess that was kind of the vision at the time. I think I can make a little money at this, and so instead of this much this year, I think I can double that, the next year. So that was kind of, I could see there was some potential there for some.
Was it still kind of like in the hobby stages?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was still just a hobby, because I was still, like I said, had 4 young kids and, a lot going on, other than spending a lot of time in the hatchery. So it was real seasonal then still. I was pretty much a one-person show. My parents helped me, run a few errands and so forth, but, the routine kind of was, I would pick up, like probably 4 different farms. I'd pick up the hatching eggs on a Monday, set them on a Monday, kind of did all the work on a Monday, picked up the eggs, set the eggs on a Monday, put them in the machine on a Monday, and then 3 weeks later would be hatch day. So I would, pull the hatch, 3 weeks later. Kind of everything kind of took place on a Monday. So, so it was still very much a hobby at that time. Usually you would hatch probably start like in April and hatch through September, and that was kind of my hatching season.
Okay.
It was about that long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask this, what was because things happen, life throws all kinds of things at you, so in this adventure, what was the craziest thing that's happened to you as far as running this hatchery since it started?
Oh, I don't know the craziest thing, but just ongoing, back in the day, 1985 or so, as kind of through, I'll say the first 5 or 6 years, you know, all the research I did, or anybody that I found to try to connect to, you know, whether it was, you know, usually trying to buy something as far as hatching eggs or baby chicks that other people wanted to buy from us, so we couldn't, you know, we couldn't produce everything that we found out that people wanted. So, I guess the way we, you know, you would find people then, you know, phone calls, made a lot of phone calls, did a lot of driving around seeing people. So, just kind of how things, you know, progress from meeting one person and making a connection, you know, and finding hatching eggs or finding baby chicks that I would, you know, buy and then resell. We bought a lot of broiler chicks from commercial hatcheries. We started out buying a lot of broiler chicks out of down the hatchery down in Strasburg, Ohio, and then, you know, basically just put them in the truck and haul them and, you know, resell them to somebody else. I mean, the same day. So the kind of crazy thing, how things just kind of evolve and kind of snowball in a good way, you know, as far as the way we just kind of made connections, and they were good connections, you know, and stay in touch with people. But it wasn't through the internet. You know, I mean, you had to actually go out and talk to people.
Face to face.
Yeah, you did. And I think that was probably good, you know. And there again, I did spent a lot of time on the road, you know. The kids would go to school in the morning, so I spent a lot of time, you know, just going out trying to find people that had what we needed.
Right.
See what we had, something that they could use. So crazy. I guess that was kind of a real busy time then, trying to, you know, just there again, find the products that we needed at that point.
So the craziness was in the networking.
Yes, yeah, the you know, in the physical way that you had to do it, actually, you know, and you know, kept everything on paper. I mean, still got notebooks way back from then, you know, you wrote everything down. So if you took an order, you wrote the person's name down and their address, and
give them a carbonless copy.
Absolutely, you know, and kind of crazy like that is, you know, that I can still look back through that notebook, and there's still people that come here today, you know, that buy pullets off of us.
Isn't that great?
And I guess that's probably one of the most satisfying things, you know, that you got a couple old gals, you know, older women that I used to take, you know, I delivered their chicks to them, or their started pullets, and, you know, they'll come out here today, and I'll go out and still talk to them, and they're like, oh, you're looking good, you know, and I'm like, well, you know, how old are you, you know, now, they're just, you know, sweet old people.
Well, it's so family-based.
It is, yeah, that's the fun part. So even a couple weeks ago, I took the notion, you know, I'm going to go out and find some of these people that we used to do business with way back when, and I think, like, you know, some of these guys were like kind of like old when we used to work with them, started pullets to a family out in Pennsylvania. So Dewey and I, we jumped in the truck here a couple weeks ago, and I said, I'm going to go out and see if we can find the Lindy family out in Pennsylvania, out in Butler, PA. So we drove out there, and sure enough, one of those old guys, 92 years old. You know,
oh, wow.
we went out there and had a nice conversation with him. And
that's great.
It is. It's just cool doing that. And then the man that used to do our sexing for us, Ben Yokoyama, lived in Worcester. He started sexing chicks for us in 1985. He probably did it for about 6 or 7 years. He wrote me a letter back in 2013, told me he was still in Worcester, kind of asking how we were doing, and kind of gave me an update on his family. And so, now I thought, well, I'm going to track him down, you know. So here about a month ago, I thought, I'm going to find out where Ben Yokoyama is, because in 2013, I think he told me he was about ready to turn 81, you know. So I thought, well, I'm going to see where he's at. By golly, I wound up finding him through an email that I found from his daughter who worked down in Columbus, and she passed the message on to him. And here about 2 weeks ago, he called me. Just the greatest thing, you know, to talk to somebody like that, and catch up with him a little bit. And I said, you know, next time you get in the area, let's get together. But I guess as far as craziness, you know, just the people that you meet, kind of how they come full circle, and you track them down again.
In a good way.
It was great to go back and, you know, talk to those people again.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was very satisfying to meet back up, you know, a couple of those people, you know, I hadn't seen them in probably 15 years, or talked to them, or didn't know if they were still, you know, still around. So it was fun to, meet up with them.
It continues. It keeps going on.
Yeah, it does.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Things don't always plan out the way we think they're going to. So looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if there is or not. There again, kind of looking back, I, you know, talked to a lot of people and listened to a lot of, you know, what people in the industry or what successful people, you know, had to say. And sometimes it's, it's just the little things that people would say to you. And one guy told me, he said, you gotta surround yourself with good people is what you've got to do to be successful. And I thought, well, that's true. You do need to do that. And even as I got older, I realized too that you have to surround yourself probably with younger, smarter people. So I guess, even back, I'll even kind of go back a little bit farther. So back when I was in high school, I played a lot of sports and so forth. And even after I got out, I was, involved in some competitive sports and in an adult scenario. And, they always said, if you want to bring somebody in your team, you want to try to bring somebody, that's as good as you or better. So you don't want to go down, we want to try to improve with whatever we have here. So,
Right.
So whatever, I guess I always tried to, get some people around me that had more to offer than what I do. So surrounding myself with good people was a good thing to do. So listening to what other successful people had done, see what they've done, listen to, some just little bits of advice that they would have about that. So I would say that's probably some of the best things that I did was, be open to other people's suggestions and try to get good people around here, which obviously we've done. We started out with, when we first built the hatchery here and started in the fall of '99, and 2000 was the first year that we hatched in this building right here. And that's when Ben started working for us here. And I have to tell you, he was like 17 or 18, still in high school, but he had some really mature ideas about, how to do things here. And it was kind of, it was refreshing. It was good. I mean, he had some good ideas, even though he was kind of a kid, still in high school. But, he had some good experience that he told me. He said he got some good experience working at, like Burger King, because just of the way that you had to be organized there, and you had to, like, you need to put something in a box and put it on the shelf, I myself, I could put it up there and remember what it is, but the next person wouldn't know what it is. So he was like, you gotta label all this stuff, you gotta know where things are at. And it's like, he said he got good experience as far as training and how to organize things by working at someplace else. So I thought, well, I can learn something from him too. And he had a lot of, just still as far as the internet, still going back to that day, we did a lot of things on paper. We weren't involved in anything on the internet, and that was something else that somebody that was working for us at that time said, you guys, you got something going on here. You need to get on the internet. And this was back probably like in, still like in 2002 or something like that, where it wasn't what it is today, at least wasn't to us. So, we got ourselves a website, and it was, just really was an obvious, really good choice, because that's what helped things move along, by having younger, smarter, good, surrounding ourselves with good people. And he's very good at making good choices on what we need here as far as good people to be around us to work here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sometimes the younger minds have that bright spark.
They do, yeah. Yeah, they do.
You tap into that.
Yeah, I don't think, you want to be worried about somebody, being smarter or better than you and, taking your job. It's all about, making everybody's job better around here as far as having better ideas and younger ideas. And, I don't very often say no to somebody, that has some kind of an idea, something that we've never done before. I mean, some of them seem kind of like a little crazy to me sometimes, and I'm like, well, give it some thought, but my first answer is not always no. It's we need to think about some of this stuff, because it could be something that will really be quite advantageous to us.
Right.
A lot of them have. Some of them don't always work out, but gotta try.
Bold thinking usually has payoffs,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's a few mistakes made here and there, but
of course.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Okay, this is a great question. A day in the life of Karen Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like?
Well, today being 2020,
Right.
it is far different than it was, I'll say, just like, 5 years ago and 10 years before that, because, 5 years ago, well, we've got more and more better people that have taken on a lot of responsibilities around here, and I've learned to do that by, listening to other people. You need to work more at it, not so much in it. Mm-hmm. So I do like to be hands-on, with physically being involved with things. So today, the life of Karen Meyer would be, in general, just oversight of, finding out if anybody needs anything that, I can do for them as far as, some of the equipment in the back, if they're setting eggs, maybe something isn't working quite right. That's what I do, is try to, make sure all that stuff works correctly and everybody needs what they need to help their job, to do their job well. My main focus, my main concern though is always to make sure, that the eggs are in the machine on time. That's my responsibility. I do that on Sunday, so I put the carts in the setters on a certain day and document, when they go in, keep track of that. And then, basically maintaining and making sure that the physical operations of everything in this building are working correctly. So that's my main focus and my main concern every day, is to make sure that
Making sure the machine's well oiled.
right, yeah, making sure there's no alarms going off back there that we don't like.
There's
We
a
don't
lot
like
to
any
that.
alarms. Yeah, there's a lot to that. So,
Sure.
and we're there again always we're making improvements on that as we go too. We always kind of see things that would just make it easier for somebody else, not having to be looking over their shoulder to make sure something was done correctly. So there's quite a long paper trail too that goes along with, from the time we gather an egg, send it over here to the hatchery, and they set the eggs, and it goes on the setter trolleys, it goes into the setters, and then from there, it gets transferred and into the hatcher. So we've created quite a really, really efficient and very informative paper trail of where the eggs start and where they wind up. So we've made improvements on that just in the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to do that, and that's what I like about really, trying to involve any part of the company that, has input on how things could work better. And we do a lot of that. Then also, we find that out from our managers on Wednesdays. We have our managers meetings in here on Wednesday, so all the managers from different departments are involved with, what are your challenges for the past week, and, what did you accomplish, and what do you see going forward, so we can, always have a good plan going forward to see,
Right.
how we can make things go well. And sometimes, even for the smallest thing that somebody might say in here, as far as a little hiccup that they might have had, can go on to into a good conversation. Something like, yeah, we can do this or that to help fix that, or, somebody else would have some input on something that caused that whatever little hiccup that person may have had could have been reflected into somebody else's part of their job. So then we'll go back to that and say, well, then let's undo this to try to fix it so it doesn't happen again.
Right.
So a lot of things get solved and talked about in our managers meeting, which is another good thing that we have every week, because there's a lot of you see a lot of different moving parts here. You've got the breeder farm, and you got the shipping department, you got the store, you got the online people, you got the CSRs in the building here. So there's a lot of moving parts here that
Every little department has to
Yes,
operate in
they do.
conjunction with each other
yes,
to make it
yes,
work. Right?
absolutely, yeah. So that communication is very important. We found that out. So we try to keep everybody communicating. Yes. Good. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What's the most fun you've ever had running this place?
I'd have to say probably in the last, and probably the most rewarding, probably in the last 2 years now, the third week in June has been the most fun. It's just been incredible, the kind of Customer Appreciation Day and Homesteader Day. So we came up with that idea probably 2 years ago, in 2019, probably in about February or March. We said we need to have a Customer Appreciation Day. Back in the day when we had a Customer Appreciation Day, you'd bring out some hot dogs and cupcakes and some cider, and you might expect a couple hundred people to show up. But then they're like in the meeting, in the managers meeting, they're saying, no, it needs to be a big deal. We're going to make this a big deal. We're really gonna. We don't have a lot of time to plan, but we can pull this together. And it was a big deal the first year. I mean, it was really it was fun, and very humbling, I will say, also for all the people that came here and just were really, really interested in seeing how this operates. We had one woman that came from, I think she was from Wyoming. Her and her daughter came, and I talked to them, and she said, yeah, we came for this. And I said, oh, so you're traveling on to see family somewhere else? She says, no, we came here just for this today. Holy mackerel. I thought, really, that was, then I'm like, wow, that's incredible that it's, you know, that means that much to some people, to them to know, you know, where they get their birds, which is very important to them, part of their life. So the most fun, yeah, the last 2 years, that would absolutely have been the most gratifying and the most fun for the second Saturday in June.
Okay, Karen, so looking forward into the future, are there any secret plans that you can reveal? Any kind of a little sneak peek behind the curtain?
Well, I've always, you know, just as I go from farm to farm and see a few things, there's always some things we'd like to improve on. So, you know, there again, back to our managers' meetings, you know, we're always talking about some new breeds. So our plan is that we would like to add, you know, at least probably 2 or 3 new breeds to our selection every year. So as to what those are, that is yet to be revealed.
Okay.
So, and some of those take several generations to get those to where we need them also. So we want to make sure that we have, you know, good information to give our customers whenever we have a new breed that comes out. So I guess nothing, no super secret plans right now. To probably, you know, future is that we want to give ourselves more of space available to start working on some new breeds that we have. So we're gonna do a little expansion in one of our breeder farms over there as far as making some new pen space so we can work to improve.
I knew there was something.
Yeah, so we can improve, you know, the breeds that we do have. We always try to make them more true to the breed, you know. So we want to always work on that all the time. And yeah, so some new breeds that we have coming in.
Excellent.
So, yeah, but we've always, yeah, you know, so we've always got to, sure, be changing things, moving ahead. We don't want to just, you know, be going sideways. We got to look to the future and be moving forward all the time. So that's important to us. Keep things fresh, and keep things interesting for our customers. We don't want them to think that we're just gonna turn into some old school hatchery. You know,
Right.
used to do it like Grandma used to do it, never change. But we're all about, you know, change all the time, good change. And
Always evolving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, I know as the owner of Meyer Hatchery that you've got a lot on your plate every day. You're very busy. Your time's very valuable. I really want to thank you very much for the time that you spent here, for the interview. Our viewers want to thank you. This has been a great interview. Thank you so much,
You bet,
Karen.
Tom. Thanks for asking.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
You take care.
Will do.